Thanks so much for joining us today, especially to those who are in the middle of a summer break. Whether you are connected from the office, a summer cabin, or somewhere in between, we are very happy to have you with us today. We're going to dive into a topic that is becoming more and more relevant. So basically, it's how to actually use AI in a way that's personal, professional, practical, and fully in your control. In today's session, we'll talk about AI twins or AI representatives or AI assistants and knowledge-based AI tools that you can shape using your own information, goals, and context. Whether it's for yourself, your team, or even your product, the idea is basically the same. What if AI could actually work for you based on what you know, based on your expertise and what you care about? That's what we'll walk through today with real world examples and demos and practical how-to. So with that, let's get started. I'll hand it over to my colleague, Valto, who will guide us through the core of the session. So Valto, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Hi from my side as well. So I'm Valto Loikkanen. I'm a co-founder and a senior advisor here at Digiole. And yeah, today we'll dive into the world of personal AIs and product-based AIs. Basically, think of those as AIs that you own and control. So that is the essential part of that. And in context of that, we also dive deeper into the markets a little bit. And basically, the idea is that we'll outline a bit of the evolution, what is happening in the digital landscape, and how these personal or your own AIs fit into the broader picture of what's happening around AI. But actually, before we dive in, I'll do one thing here. So maybe to get also conversation going. So if you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to drop those in the chat, and Oscar will pick them along the way, and we'll cover all of those at the end. So that we get kind of the broad context into the mix. But I'll also you can add here a short intro, organization you represent, and your role. Of course, you can be here also as an individual, so that's all fine. And another thing that you can or you can think along the way. In addition to other questions, you can think how you would consider using these AIs in your own work, in your own life, in your own business, in your own organization, in whatever field you're operating. And one more link that I want to add here is actually my own AI twin, a personal that you can also have a try, and then maybe as a first and foremost, I could just briefly showcase the product more live here. So showing from my own AI, basically you can see that here this is a live representation of the system, and here basically you can see myself represented by my personal AI, and a couple of example questions here that are automatically generated based on my own knowledge that I have. And I could here ask simple questions or enter into a dialogue, and basically this way. It's very simple. It works on desktop and mobile, and also there's a functionality here to contact me directly if wanting to. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. It can also, if someone wants to book a meeting with me, it knows my online calendar for booking meetings and so forth. So it's a very simple way of bringing, and I can put this in my LinkedIn profile or email signature or wherever I want to have it. But we'll have more on those in the presentation. Another thing that I wanna showcase one example of a live. This is in Finnish, but this is basically an online newspaper or an online version of a newspaper. And basically, these have a talking product embedded into the article. So basically, there are some of these links that basically have predefined questions in them, and then at the end of the article, there's also a link to the AI version. So I'm just clicking that, and basically it opens into a new tab, this type of talking product. So basically, this article is about presenting these types of sunglasses or eyeglasses that have these transitioning lenses, and then basically people who would be reading the article and would be curious about that, they can ask more about how does it actually work, or how does it fit to my glasses, and so forth. And it's basically the glasses themselves represented by an AI. So that's just a brief introduction for or a demo of the product in practice. And then let's go into the presentation itself. Let's dive in here. And we'll put on the presentation mode. So one way that you can also add this your own AI into product brochures or physical packaging or so forth is through a simple QR code. Here or as a personal use, you can add it to your presentation. And basically, you can just have that audience. Imagine being in a physical live event and presenting to the audience, you can have the QR code basically available for representing your AI twin to handle any Q&As alongside of the actual presentation even, and of course after that and so forth. So those are just very concrete demos to get the thing started. And after the webinar, we will share you the recording and some additional assets and a link where you can create your own AI for your own purpose, whether that is for personal or business. If you want to create more than one, that's all fine. It's all free for you to test and basically even start using live. The way we want to bring these technologies to people is really this type of hands-on perspective where we try to take the barrier of entry to zero. So all is required is your own interest, curiosity, motivation to learn and start using, and then basically seeing if these types of solutions are valuable for you. And then when you start to use more for longer term or more committed, then it's basically a simple subscription model to continue using for longer time. But we don't want to have any barriers of getting started. So yeah, my AI twin is available for asking. I have also added my own domain on top of that. It's basically yeah, that way easy for me myself to remember to share it. It can be also embedded into different sites as a simple link, like the article example, or basically also more as a kind of overlay or this type of pop-up window or other systems. And of course, for more business use, broader use, there's ability to customize even further with integrations and so forth with a separate project to be done based on those. Simple mobile. So the browser version basically works with any smartphone. All you need to have is an Android or iPhone or whatever smartphone, a modern one, and it interacts with the simple QR code. It works with any browser. There is no application that needs to be downloaded, so it's instantly accessible to anyone in any scenario in a physical world items bridged by the QR code as well. So I already showed the interface. Now I'm showing more from the how does it actually then work? How do I, as an AI owner, interact with my own AI, and how do I set it up? So basically, the things that you see presented externally is very simple. You add your own name. You can name it and have it represent a physical person or a product or a service or whatever you want it to be, and then give a basic description. You also get the QR code directly from your own management setup. You can put the QR code, for example, I have put it in my own Apple Watch, embedded there, for example, in the physical networking events. Then instead of having my business card or where I have my QR code as well, but basically these have obviously unlimited amount of information like my calendar, my LinkedIn profile, my email address, and then can also take on the conversation about would I be interested in collaborating in XYZ? Would I be available for holding a webinar in other places or whatever that may be? The actual knowledge part is very simple. All you have to do is have your knowledge or information that you want your AI to represent as text files. So basically, these are just simple text files that are documents. No advanced technologies are involved. So basically, just uploading those text files, and then those text knowledge is converted by the system into the brains of your AI, in the sense that then it is learning or using that knowledge for its communications. And we'll go into technical parts a little bit more later in the presentation. Another key part of this interaction is that it's not one-sided. So it's not only me putting my own AI out there and have that available for conversations. It's also a learning tool and insights tool to then learn what people who are interacting with my own AI are actually interested. So basically, all of those interactions that my own AI is having are transparent to me. At the same time, from those who are interacting with my AI, those are anonymous. So I have no idea. There is not even cookies involved, no analytics of other type. So basically, it's only the actual interactions happening. So I don't have any knowledge of who those interactors are unless they want to identify themselves in the conversations or through the contact me option. So but at the same time, then I can see clearly all the information and interactions as they happen in real time. So that's just from the system itself, the simplicity of it, and the kind of multitude of ways of using, and that's just touching the surface. But the point is really to showcase this type of a entirely new way of existing online and making yourself more available, and or having your own products represent themselves in a physical world or in the digital world with the help of AI. So these knowledge-based AIs are basically these three key components. So on one hand, it has its own knowledge base, and that's basically the brains of the, well, it's the memory part of the setup, and that is all your own information and content and knowledge that you control. The next key part is the AI personality or the AI persona, and this, depending on what you want to use such setup, depends your use case. And as so your AI persona can represent you as an individual or any physical or digital product online, and then you can also have personalization options to kind of influence how it interacts with the world and how it represents you or your product. And then the insights part is the third key component, so that it's not only one dimensional or one way, but a two-way interaction tool. So these are the key components of an AI that you own. And now you can then kind of compare this with any AIs that you may be currently using or that you have created earlier. If you have used like ChatGPT or created your own GPTs or other things, you start to get the idea that the key part here is the ownership aspect and the control that you have over your own AI versus, let's say, the old world where the platforms are controlling all the information, all the knowledge, and setting all the rules and defining who can do what and how they can do that. And actually, like, they keep all the insights, all the valuable parts of those tools for themselves. So the way then this system architecturally is set up when it comes to knowledge or information is basically that when you start with your own AI, it's of course based on with these large language models as a base. And you can think of that like if we take a human analogy, think of that it's like a human that have basic schooling but have not specialized in any topic. So they know the language, the basic math, they know the basic vocabulary, and the basic things, general knowledge about the world. And then when it becomes yours, is that then you continue to make it more knowledgeable on the topic and information and knowledge that you want it to be representing. So then by adding content to this knowledge base, it becomes, it's always prioritized as its primary knowledge to use, so that the more knowledge you keep adding, the more and more it becomes representative of that information. And then the layer in between is this kind of summarization layer. Think of that as kind of, for example, in a book, when you have book full of detailed knowledge, then this summarization layer is kind of like the cover page or the back page, the prefix of what is the content about. So whenever there is like exact specific thing missing at the core, so if it's not entered, this summarized information is used as a second priority information to use when interacting and responding to queries. And then only if it goes like totally outside of the context, then it can leverage its general knowledge. And this logic is built so that it always feels as a good user experience for those interacting with your AI, and basically gives them a good experience, not failing if it doesn't have exact information or if it goes totally outside of the context. And of course, there are then some levels to also control how much you want it to be helpful beyond your own context or knowledge that you give for it. But the main thing is that there are so many different types of use cases that organizations and people want to use this, that they need to be basically controlled and defined by those who own their own AIs and use them individually for their own purposes. But basically, this is, I think the human analogy is helpful here. So then the AI, just like a human, grows into becoming basically best representation of the topics that it's most interested about, or wants to continue constantly talking about, like some people who get overly excited about their own subject matters. So let's then look at the market side a little bit. So we'll take a time perspective, basically from the beginning of where this kind of ChatGPT created this AI, common AI understanding. It started a big scale from there, and of course the AI has been in the markets for ages, but it has been behind the user interface in the form of algorithms and machine learning type of things. And this large language model based AIs have really made it more general purpose and also helpful and understandable, and kind of working behind the interface, if you will. So initially, in comparing with traditional applications, the first kind of way how to use this, it feels similar to using any other application, like using ChatGPT versus Google service, for example. At the early days, it's just like another service with new capabilities and functionalities in it. But now this year, 2025, has been really all about this type of AI assistants and AI agents. And we are basically transitioning into this way of understanding how these can be used and are going to be used and are being implemented, that it's not only that you use them like a traditional application, but you can basically communicate with them in a similar way and give them things to do in a similar way as you would give to a colleague working digitally with you. And basically that's the AI agents world. And then when we have more and more of these AI agents that have been built for different purposes, to represent different things, to do different things, each of them are kind of purpose built for a specific thing. So then naturally these AIs can also collaborate, and then that generates this or creates this agentic AI world. And now this transition is currently where we are, right in the middle. When we look from the time perspective, we have already transitioned beyond the applications to these AI agents and AI assistants, and are entering into this agentic AI world where these AIs can also call for each others and interact and work as a team. One other kind of key framework or concept I want to bring into the mix is that there's always kind of the key interface is between, let's say, the internal side and the external side. So if we look from the organization perspective, that's like working with your colleagues internally in your organization. That's kind of all things happening on the service side. And then there's the customer side. So that's the open market. So when your organization is working with customers or partners or so forth, so then that's kind of the external side. So and when we simplify that into a form of a simple service or a product, then of course that interaction is between the product and the customer. And when we take this timeline now into basically this framework, we can understand that these types of interactions and use of technology is happening currently on both sides, and then these both sides are also merging, meaning that already this year and more so in coming years, there will be scenarios where customers' AI is interacting with service side AI and taking care of things that way. And even more so, will continue to blur the lines into this agentic AI world or AI ecosystems, AI networks, and so forth. So from the personal perspective or business perspective, your own AI will be as common as your email or phone number is today. So it really is inevitable and looking through that lens, that just as there wasn't email at some time in the past, or you didn't have your personal phone number in past, and now you do, and now you can understand that it would be impossible even the world to function anymore, not only us individually or us as organizations to work or exist. Similarly, your own AI will need to exist in the future, and it will be impossible to operate in the world without one. So the reason for that is there's undeniable benefits, business, personal, and otherwise, that will come from that, and the cost is not a barrier. So simply the cost with a lot of things with AI, the cost of doing anything is cheaper than the current cost already paid. So when you combine these factors together, you get to a scenario if benefits are higher than the current and the cost is lower than the current, it is inevitable development what is happening. So this is nothing to do with what anyone thinks or what views they have, or even what regulators can control. It is happening, and everyone wants it to happen. The question is just how fast and how safely we navigate those things. And then, like with any technology wave, we all have a personal choice to make on behalf of ourselves and on behalf of the organizations we represent. Is, do we want to be, just floating in the ocean and let the waves come and throw us in ways we want, or do we want to take control and navigate our own way in those landscape and think how the value distribution is going to happen from the perspective of ourselves or the organizations that we represent? Are we simply continue to be deployed or consumers, or do we want to be owners in this field? So yeah, simple visualization about email and personal mobile starting in the 90s, and now we are on the 2025. There's 35 years in between there already. So yeah, think of 35 years already in between there, and now we are in 2025. Think of 35 years forward if you want, or 10 years forward. The time will take care of itself. These things will happen fast, and it will be one of the inevitable things that you will have. And now it's just like with anything, the sooner you start, the further ahead you will get. This is now, we are now in the moment, like maybe some of you think like when internet was starting, that it would have been great to be the Amazon of the times or Google of the times or whatnot. We are now in the beginning stages of this new world where all the value, existing value, monetary value and otherwise value is going to be redistributed from here forward in the future. And of course, also new value and new economy is going to also be added on top of that. Just like when we got mobiles, we get the platforms like Ubers and Airbnbs that also captured the physical world to be basically where the value is distributed through our mobile devices versus how it was before. So this world of agentic AI will totally reimagine everything that we are currently doing, plus everything that we are not yet doing because of the capabilities ahead. So what's actually happening behind the user interface? And we'll start from that ChatGPT moment that basically this application type use. Initially, it was only that interface connected directly to large language model that has been trained with massive amounts of information, knowledge, data of different kind. And then step by step, more things were added behind or to work with the LLM itself. So traditional data storage, information storage like knowledge base, databases, additional software, traditional software that are used by the LLM directly or indirectly, ability for LLM to even create its own code and then execute that code. For example, for doing some mathematical calculations that the large language models can't perform directly, but what they can do, they know how to build an application that can solve that mathematical problem, so they can simply create an app, execute that, and then give the result that way. And so, and then also existing applications that are already available in the world. So it's not only the AI in a magical box, but it's being kind of gradually built combination of all traditional technology methods combined with these new LLM-based methods. But for the most cases, these are intentionally kept invisible from the user from two reasons. One, it's a business advantage to do so, but it's also consumer benefit because of the convenience and user experience to keep it as simple as possible. When we combine these things that are connected and built around the LLM, we combine them together and we take the traditional interface away where the human is using it. That's basically what an AI agent is. So AI agent is this type of capsulated unit setup that has predefined tools, capabilities, connections, and whatnot available to it. And then based on that, that's kind of a technical representation of an agent. And then when we look the world of these different types of AI agents, what similarly as us people, when we have a job title, we have a function in the organization. That function comes with the purpose, the boundaries, the tools that we have access to, and basically the reason for us existing as part of that organization. Similarly, each of these AI agents have a role, a function to exist, And when we look at the personal AI agent, the function is to serve the owner individual and basically help them and represent them. In addition, there, for example, we can use multi-tool in future, instead of us using different applications, we are using different agents. And the key aspect here is that you don't want to have, let's say, 100 AI agents that you have to communicate separately. Like, you wouldn't be able to communicate to 100 people in an organization either. And manage them directly. Therefore, it kind of comes into the perspective that you have one primary one that has closer, like a personal assistant or a personal shopper or personal this or that, and basically that is there to represent you and interact with other agents on your behalf, so that your life can be simple in this scenario. And also that you have one that you control, so then therefore you don't need to control all the other agents in this setup. And the key perspective here is that this personal AI is like your primary representative. It's looking after your best interest. It's representing you because you are the owner and the one who controls it. So think of it like your personal lawyer or your fiduciary, basically, that it has that function. So it is also protecting you from the world outside. It's meant to be your AI that you own, and not something that someone else owns. On the service side, it's the same thing. The service want to have their own AI that they own and control. And then the emerging interface is going to be when these agents are starting to have interactions between themselves. And this is actually an interesting point to think, like, which side will scale faster? Will all organizations and companies in the world have AI agents representing and available for their customers, or will customers have their own personal AIs interacting on behalf of them? And there are still going to be a lot of companies that actually they are humans giving answers to their customers' AI agents. What will be the reality is that both will coexist for a long time. So there will be all types of scenarios happening, but it is inevitable that this will happen. So the question is more like how quickly each of the individuals and organizations in different geographics, industries, and so forth actually go through this transition. So then from personal perspective, you can have your AI agent interacting or using different service side agents, multitude. And you can imagine that these interactions can happen much more effectively. You can think that when humans are interacting through a customer support interfaces and so forth, how labor is costly and slow that is compared to when these AIs handle that part. It takes seconds instead of minutes or hours. And it can happen in all kinds of languages, including technology languages. Across geographics, language has no meaning, basically. The individual can be communicating in their own native language with services that talk natively totally different languages, and it has no difference. On the service side, it will also be same. One AI agent is going to be able to handle vast amounts of customer inquiries and communication from the service side. And of course, all of this here, the key thing is not only what information are they representing or what capabilities they have, but also what is actually the interactions that are happening. So the insights part here is the key contributor for the value. Yes, insights, actually knowing what's actually happening. So this is very annoying. But I don't want to do anything to disrupt it even more. So let's just continue going. And this basically then opens up more and more of this agentic online world, where basically this agentic AI networks or ecosystems is an entirely new layer on top of the internet as we know it today. Talking any language, including technical ones, so they have no difficulty of talking more effective languages. So, for example, programming languages. There was one funny demo about two AI agents having a conversation through a phone line, and basically they were talking in our language or English, basically. And then when they identified, oh, I'm an agent, and then the other ones, oh, I'm an agent as well. So then they switched to that traditional modem squeaking, like dee 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 dee. They were talking more effectively instead of using words, because they both know how to communicate in this fax machine language that was used to translate data across phone lines in the past. So one of the things that I like to do also in context of technology always is because the world is so obsessed around technology, software applications, AI, whatever that may be. But it's actually one of the things that is kind of the golden nugget hidden in the technology conversation that is overlooked. I don't know if it's intentional, unintentional, or whatnot, but the technology actually is pointless. What is important in technology, ICT, digital, is actually the information and communication. So ICT means information and communication technology. It's not technology for the sake of technology. So if we remove the word information from that ICT, everything else becomes irrelevant. So the only purpose why technology exists is for information and communication purposes. It doesn't matter what it is, that's the core of it. So that then leads to that we have to understand that the information is where the value is. It's not the technology. So, and that's also where the ownership aspect comes relevant. Information, data, knowledge, or the content, whatever we want to call it, in general, these large language models cannot be created without one or without vast amounts of information. That's why those who are creating these large language models are obsessed with collecting as much information as possible, whether it's by fair means or unfair means, but they are doing that to collect this information. But basically, the AI doesn't exist without data, information, and so forth. Also, after these large language models have been created using the vast amounts of information, it continues to need to use data and information. So whether you are fine-tuning an LLM model, so think of the large language model as a base model, and then when one or someone wants to create a fine-tuned model, it's basically continue to give it more information of a specific language or specific business vertical domain or industry or whatnot to continue its understanding on a specific discipline, if you will. The other way or additional way is using this large language model connected with traditional knowledge structures like knowledge base or data repository or so forth, and using the large language model as an interface. And that's basically the technology that we are using for AIs where you own and control your AI. And the key here is that this way your knowledge and information doesn't get bundled into the model itself. and therefore everyone can have their own AI, because it is using the generic open source models or other models to interact with your information, and it's only using it at the time when it's used, and it's not actually embedded into the model itself. So this evolution of the digital landscape has gone that, when it looked from the information perspective, we had before computers, that's how we protected and controlled our own knowledge and information. When we got personal computers, PCs, basically that's how we controlled and owned our own information, had it in our possession. Then came based internet that allowed effective and easy way to remote information, and that also generated a lot of public domain information, like Wikipedia, for example, that is meant to be public domain. So it's intentionally made available to everyone for free use for whatever purpose, for the most parts. Then came graphical browser enabled virtual or visual interactive content. So then the information and knowledge became richer. And then eventually came the service-based internet that enabled user accounts and social networks. And now it also started to include our personal information. So before there was login, sign up, register types of accounts existing, our personal information didn't actually exist online at all. And now the next layer on top of this will be the agentic AI network. It's a new layer. It's on top of everything. And it's logical that our own information needs to also exist in this new world in a way where we can own and control our information. And therefore, when we own and control our own information, we own and control our own AI. And if we don't own and control our own information, we don't own our own AI, but it is owned by someone else. And the way you can own and control is that you actually have your information, knowledge, data kept in your own possession. Possession means that it's you have some boundaries how you allow your information, content, knowledge to be used, accessed for what purpose, and you can set your own terms how to be used, and not so that those terms are set by someone else. As these large language models have already gone open source, it also means that you can download these large language models to your own laptop, computer, have them in personal use or business use. So all that world's knowledge that is being used to train them is basically available for free for anyone. So that public domain information, that information that is used these models, has no competitive advantage. The value of that is basically zero because everyone has access to it. So then the only thing that has value on top of that is the information, knowledge, and content that you control, that others don't have free public domain access to, or that you have not given rights as part of clicking I agree to terms of service for other companies to simply use all of your information as they like. So basically, your own information is the only competitive advantage that others don't have. And that's for this whole new AI layer that is emerging now. No other things has value than that when it comes to information and communication. Is the information that you make available, the content and knowledge that you control, and the information and knowledge that you capture from the interactions of your AI. If you don't take control of that, then basically you are giving control of your economic future to someone else. So the only way to own your own AI is to own the information that make it yours. And there's always other organizations, local, national, international, that are more than happy to take ownership of your. There will always be those who are happy to take ownership of the valuable assets that you hold. If you don't want to hold on to your own information, it's like, I don't want to hold on to my own money. It's okay that others use it the way they like it. It also doesn't mean that you have to lock down your information. You can make it as much available publicly, public domain, and so forth. The key is that it should be your decision and not a decision by someone else. So to take control means that you have it somewhere. So if I would ask now, where is all your valuable information? I think in the modern world, it's very hard to answer. Personal level, organization level, and then the follow-up question is that, okay, if I have all of my personal information, if I could point a place where that is, like, okay, in the before computers, we could say it's all in that filing cabinet, it's all in that safe deposit box, or whatever, that's where my valuables are. So now if you would be able to say that, yeah, it's on our server here physically in our, like, it's here in the corner in the cabin, that's where all of my valuable information is, that's a great start. Then the next point would be that, okay, is it structurally optimized to be used by AI? Likely not, because it's just the nature of where we are with these technologies. But anyway, the point is that wherever the current starting point is, that's where all of us have to get to. Like, I don't have my own personal information that way. We definitely don't have that in our organization, that we are controlling like all of our knowledge. For example, digital website, I don't think we have our own terms there saying that AI companies can't use our content for training their own LLMs. It's just the nature that where we are starting. So we need to start putting these boundaries in place to protect our valuables in this world. And then on the other hand, also make it as effectively useful as we can for ways we want to use it. So we are in this defining moment now. Do we continue in the old world methods where we let the platforms do more than any nation can anymore control? Or do we start taking control back and basically just start protecting our valuables? Because the new valuable in this agentic world is the information that we have access to, and that access to happens what we already have, and then what we collect from interactions that our own AIs are having. So going through these products that we have made based on the knowledge-based AIs, we have the talking products. I already showed quick demos in the beginning. Basically, you can put these in the physical world products in the QR code, capture customer understanding based on the interactions. What you have, the more complex the product, or the more questions there would be about the product, the more useful it is. You can have unlimited amount of information available, and it can happen over the full life cycle of the product. And then basically you can capture the insights of the product from all aspects. And the QR codes are basically the bridge between the physical world and the digital world. And the use of QR codes are just expanding more and more. But I think I will actually stop here. There's still some slides that we can include on the end of the presentation, but that's just meaningful of the time and the technology claims that we have had here. So yeah, let's open for questions as well, so we don't miss those.
Yeah, thank you, Valto. Yes, we have one question from the audience, so I'm gonna read it. So if traditional LLMs bundle user information into the model when used, That does not mean the specific user information could be revealed to another user of the model, does it? For example, if I put my account for company XYZ into ChatGPT, a future user could then query and get back the financial account for company XYZ, right? The user interactions just adjust the weights of the model, I thought.
So, of course, from our perspective, we can't comment or say anything about how someone else's systems actually work and operate, because it's basically impossible for anyone to know exactly what is happening behind the scenes. So on one hand, we can say that, for example, ChatGPT or so OpenAI, all we can assess is from what makes business sense. So from the point of business sense, that would not make sense for them to do that. But it's totally unclear how they train their models, what information is used to train the models, and how the processes actually go in training those models. And basically what you can all hear if you listen to podcasts and so forth, they are not very transparent about those processes, and also in many cases admitting that there's a lot of things that are not even possible to control. So the only way to make sure that those things don't happen is to limit the exposure that goes into those models. How that can happen is when you can build architecturally a setup where you have your own copy of the LLM that you are using. And those are like, that's how they do it, that they have the hosted separated LLM models available that are basically same as you would download an LLM model to your own laptop. Obviously, if you have the LLM model and the knowledge that you are using all physically in your possession, then that model doesn't go back to the mothership, if you will. But still, if there's the access to the knowledge, then of course that knowledge can be used in future training if they have access to that. So the only kind of way to really guarantee this is build service architectures that you know what the architecture actually is, and therefore through that lens you can validate that that doesn't exist. It doesn't mean you have to do it yourself, but you can have a specialist helping you to make sure to assess your own setup and so forth. But whenever you have to trust terms of service, basically you just have to trust those terms of service, and that's majority of how world works. But it doesn't mean that they wouldn't be able to change those, how they apply those terms and service. So that's, for example, think the simple example of WhatsApp. When in the beginning, WhatsApp was a company that had terms and service by the small company that created it, made it popular, and then Meta bought it. And of course, Meta changed the terms and service to fit their business models and so forth. So none of these are also stale. And also, it doesn't mean that it only applies from there forward if they already have your historical data from over the years, and then they change the terms later on. Like Facebook has basically said that they will use our personal data from Facebook, from all of the history, to train the models, and what LinkedIn tried to do as well. And I think did it in the most countries. So they can change the terms at any time, and it doesn't mean it's impacting from there forward. It also impacts all the historical data that you already have there. So basically, it's just your choice. You just have to make really tough decisions and decide whether you want to have true control that you can actually validate, that is not just based on trusting that they will do fine for us.
All right, thanks, Valto, for the reply, and thanks, Toby, for the question. Also, besides the demos or examples that Valto brought in the beginning, I would like to also briefly show different use cases that we are doing with company products, specifically to be more inspirational about how it is used. One of them is this flyer from a brewery. So some weeks ago, there was one beer festival here in Helsinki, and one of the breweries wanted to basically experiment the solution in real context. Basically, they were promoting different kind of beers in their booth, and they created this kind of flyer and related to each beer that they were promoting. So basically, we activated or we set up a talking product so that any visitor into the beer festival could talk with them. The idea was to basically to make that experience funnier, while at the same time all those interactions happening between the visitors with each of the beers that were promoted were captured and give the brewery more information about the visitor experience during the beer festival days. Another use case that is becoming more and more relevant to us is also this case from Spain. So we are working with one of the most beautiful gardens in the world, protected by UNESCO. It is located in Mallorca, and basically it's a combination of open gardens and historical building. And as part of the journey in the open gardens, they have deployed talking product in different steps of the journey. So this is one of the selected step in the journey. This is a sculpture from one very famous Spanish artist, Joan Miró. And associated to this sculpture, there is here a QR code where the visitors can basically scan and directly talk with the sculpture. So basically they get to know, besides basic things about who is the artist and what was the purpose. So anything behind the story of this artist, and the same to many different corners in the garden that they have there in Mallorca. So then when they aggregate all that information, all those interactions anonymously from the visitors scanning the QR codes in the different corners of the garden, so then they get to know like a really more clear understanding about the visitor experience. They know not only the questions that the visitors are asking, but also they get clarity about the language used, the patterns in when they are asking what are the steps or the corners most visited or most frequently asked, and so forth. So again, more objective information that is captured without asking anything to the visitors, without annoying them when they are doing the route. And again, that is information that they can use in multiple ways, not only to design a better visitor experience, but also as part of the communication materials, marketing, etc. So yeah, so those are a couple of examples that we are basically using, and yeah, so just wanted to bring it for more inspiration.
Yeah, thanks, Oscar. And I also wanted to add to that that Spanish case that currently what we are also looking into is that the success of this has been overwhelming there. So basically, there was expectation that good usage will emerge, but there has been a lot of usage in that. So there has been thousands, if not tens of thousands, of interactions happening now on monthly level, and obviously that creates a new type of need that we are kind of starting to look into now, which is basically how to aggregate and use AI to extract most valuable insights out of those interactions that are happening in multiple languages, because it's a popular tourist destination. So many different languages of the world are being directly interacted there. And now looking into, like, no, there's no point of actual humans to read through tens of thousands of interactions in multiple languages to capture the most essential things. So there's interesting things like that's the assessment. Obviously, we are assessing and then looking into creating a fully automated solution where only the most interesting insights are captured. And then every month, basically, if new insights specifically are coming, and then looking also like different languages. So, for example, you could, well, we'll see what comes, but you can imagine the type of dimensions that service can be developed based on, for example, who's visiting or what type of visitors are visiting. But yeah, I just wanted to add that. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions? No? All right. So then I think that we can conclude here. So thank you, everyone who joined us today, especially during summertime. We know this isn't an easy time to get or to find 1 hour. So we really appreciate your participation and your curiosity here today. So basically, everyone will receive a recording of the session, plus a few extra materials to basically to help you start thinking about your own AI layer. You will get to know, you will get the experience of setting up your own AI for your personal use or for your company, organization, whatever. We will provide some instructions to set it up. And of course, if you have any question, feel free to reach out to us. We will be more than happy to assist you in that process. But yeah, that was all from the session today. Thank you again, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye.